What's up, guys? I got a lot of feedback on that last video. I was not expecting that at all. I did not realize that people cared that much about what I had to say. But I've gotten a lot of text messages, a lot of Facebook messages about all kinds of different things. So I'm going to make some different videos. Some people have requested that I kind of speak out about certain things, and I'm going to make those. But I'm going to start with this one, and this one's going to be on some books. I got a lot of people asking me about books, and different people asking about different kinds of books. So I'm just going to cover it all in one deal here. Now I've got a lot of books, so this is just kind of something I would recommend from each category. I've got some business, some socialism stuff, personal development, kind of all those different things. So these are just kind of some things that I would recommend reading, and kind of a good way to start into some stuff. So for my financial people, apparently my comment about the amount of money that I make generated a lot of interest. I would much rather see that interest generated into what the hell's happening in the world, in our country, because if we don't fix that, it doesn't matter what you do. We're not going to make money. So be interested in this, but also be interested in that. So this is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This was a game changer for me. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't come from money. My family didn't have money. I didn't know anybody that had money. So I didn't know about the laws of money, how to use money, how to make money work for me, none of those things. And until I read this book, I really had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was going to work every day. I was making money, but that was it. There was no end game. There was no wealth to be created there. I would live paycheck to paycheck. So I would definitely recommend this one. This is what I recommend to all the young bucks that I kind of tutor and mentor. This is always the first one, because everybody wants to get rich. And speaking of which, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I highly doubt that you'll ever find a millionaire that hasn't read this book. Kind of goes into the law of attraction thing. People think I'm crazy when I talk about the law of attraction, and you can think whatever you want to, but it's real. Thoughts become things, and I've practiced that for probably 5 years now, and my life's completely changed. Obviously, I've had to put the work and the effort in, but it all starts with a thought. So definitely read this guy. For all my business owners, especially new entrepreneurs, the EMyth Revisited. I can guarantee you, wherever you think that you're at in business, this book is going to highlight that, and you're going to think that they wrote it about you, because I know I did. Whenever, my first 3 years in business especially, you kind of chasing your tail around, and you kind of get in between growing and expanding, and then you expand, and then you realize you weren't prepared for that, so you scale back, and then you don't have the help that you need, and it just it's a back and forth deal. And I thought that was just my inexperience or lack of knowledge, and in reality, it's something that pretty much all business owners go through, small business owners especially. So that's definitely one I would recommend. Now let's get in. Left of Bang is basically on the Marine Corps combat profiling. And what Left of Bang is being able to see things before they happen. Right of Bang is reacting to those things after they happen. This Left of Bang is what made Reagan think that I was probably a psychopath for the first 6 months that we were dating. When we walk into a restaurant, and I would always have to sit with my back to the wall. I know where every exit's at in the building, and I'm watching every person come in and out of the room. I'm checking their pockets for knives, for weapons, and just their demeanor, all those things. and it's just kind of programmed. But it's really good for everyone to be vigilant and think along those lines, especially if you're a father or a husband, being a protector and a provider. That's just how I perceive it. But I want to be able to stop something before it happens. I don't want to be reacting to it later on. Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership. Fantastic book. Basically, the whole premise of this is everything's your fault, no matter what. You got employees, your employees mess up, it's your fault. Your employee's not doing their job, you didn't train them well enough. You didn't get something done, you weren't prepared enough. Everything comes back on you, and that's a concept that you really want to embrace in life in general. Stop blaming other people for your problems. The One Thing. This book, another great book. It basically focusing on the one thing that you can do right now that's going to make the most difference. We've always got things that we can do. What's the one thing, the most important thing that you can do right now that's going to give you the result that you're looking for, or put you closer to that result that you're looking for? Awesome book. This is Gary Keller, by the way. One of my favorites. As a Man Thinketh. James Allen. This is a masterpiece. It's a classic. If you haven't read it, read it. This is getting into more of the psychology side of things, which I have a fascination with. This is The Laws of Human Nature, and I've just kind of always had a fascination for how the brain works, what makes people do what they do. I've got the sister book to this, The 48 Laws of Power. Also, I've got it lent out right now. But that's another one if you're kind of looking to get into that. I would borderline call this dark psychology. This is something, especially the 48 Laws of Power, and there's a lot of manipulation techniques in there. That once you read it, you're probably going to realize have been used on you at some point or another. This one, You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So what I was talking about in that last video about belief systems and changing your personality and all of those things, he is the neuroscientist that really brought all that to light for me. Watching his videos, reading his books, and that was another thing that I really went down a rabbit hole on, and because there's been things, obviously, like everyone, that I wanted to change about myself, and I would try to change them, and it wouldn't last, and I was just going around and around and around. And reading this, and it kind of goes back to the law of attraction thing. Everything starts with changing your thoughts. So you're changing your thoughts and change your beliefs, change your personality, all those things. So that's another great one. Now we're going to get in. This is my socialism, Marxism, fascism, communism, Nazism pile here, or some of them anyway, the ones that I think are the most prevalent. We'll start with George Orwell. We've got Animal Farm in 1984. If you want to know what's happening right now, this is a good book. It's a fable, and this is literally exactly what's happening right now. So if you read this book, you're going to say, "Oh shit, we're in some serious trouble." And that's literally all. If every United States citizen would read this book, they would understand what the hell's going on. This was written in, I believe, 1948. And George Orwell was a socialist who understood the dangers of socialism. A little bit ironic, but nonetheless, he laid out that blueprint for us in that book, and basically that's what they're following right now, and everyone just seems to be falling in line with that. So, Ordinary Men this was from the Nazis. There was a police battalion that went through Poland and slaughtered went town to town slaughtering men, women, and children who were Jewish, following orders from the top, and with different motives. And basically what this book is this was one of the survivors that tells the story, and how normal, ordinary people could commit acts of atrocities like this. And once they started committing those acts, what kind of people it turned them into. So another great book. It's a little dark, you know, if you're not don't have the stomach for that kind of thing, probably not one you want to read. It's Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. This is another one. This is highlighting the Nazi concentration camps and kind of the things that were happening in there, and really goes into the psychology of that, of what it does to a person when you watch these things. And you know, with this book, it really made me realize how human beings can be conditioned. You know, when they first go into these camps and, you know, they're worried about dying, and then after a couple weeks, you know, you forget about that and you really become numb to everything. And, you know, he was talking about they were making 12-year-old children stand out in the snow and attention, and they would get frostbite on their feet, and they would bring them into the hospital where these guys were at the camp, and they had frostbite on their toes, and they're pulling them off with pliers. And you know, 12-year-old children. And basically what he's talking about is how he's watching that like it's just normal, and that's how your mind can be conditioned to these things. And a lot of what's happening now with what they're doing with the slow conditioning of stuff, and you get used to it, and then they do a little bit more, and then you get used to it, and back and forth we go until they have total control. The Two Cultures, A Second Look. This one is really a great book. It's more of the line between the intellectuals and the scientists. Kind of goes into that, and the divide, the cultural divide that's kind of always been there underlying. The Gulag Archipelago. Another one with basically the Holocaust, the concentration camps, and then this one's another one, if you don't have the stomach for it, goes into how people were starving to death in the Soviet Union, and resorted to cannibalism and started eating each other because they're starving to death. And yeah, another dark side of history, but if we don't study it and we don't learn from it, we're bound to repeat it. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Warning to the West. This is one I would highly recommend. And this was back in the 70s. He was going around giving speeches warning of everything that is happening right now. So this is another one. If you think this is a series of coincidences, all the stuff that's happening right now, I can't help but laugh because it's so funny to me. But it's not funny, it's tragic. But this book will highlight in detail everything that's happening to us as American citizens, and the plan to destroy the West. And that's exactly what they're doing. The Devil and Karl Marx. Obviously, I'm outspoken about Karl Marx because I believe all of the stuff that's happening derives from his ideology. So in this book, it pretty much goes into detail about all of a lot of his writings, what his plans were, his utopian society, this greater good concept that everyone seems to be clinging to right now. Read this and you'll find out where that greater good, where that leads to. And the classic, Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler, another dark book, Inside the Mind of a Psychopath. So not a lot of everybody knows about Hitler. So if you really wanted to get into that, that's the bibliography on him. And again, I have a fascination with what makes people do what they do and how they're able to do these kinds of things and what makes people do them. The Naked Socialists, another great one. Really highlighting everything that they believe. And I'm a big believer in knowing your enemy as you know yourself. And That's why I read all of these things, so that I can see these things coming before they get here, and I can hopefully try to warn people with Facebook videos and maybe make a difference. But it doesn't seem like that's happening. But The Naked Socialist is another great one if you want to learn about socialism and about our future if we continue to wear these fucking masks. So Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, the Communist Manifesto, pretty self-explanatory. And probably my personal favorite, The Art of War, Sun Tzu. And this isn't just about warfare tactics and strategy. This is kind of a concept you can wrap your whole life around. So I would definitely recommend that one. And that's kind of where I would start with stuff, depending on what your goal is. And I always tell people, because everybody always says they hate to read, and probably because back in school we had to read shit like To Kill a Mockingbird and all that kinds of stuff. Read something that you're interested in. I mean, it's just read, and or something that you want to learn about. Pick up a book and read about that. If you're not interested in it, you're just going to skim through the words anyway, and you're not going to pick up on anything, and you're not going to learn anything. And you know, if you want to educate yourself and you want to further yourself in life, again, if you look at what successful people do, all of them read. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to read, you're going to be a step behind everyone else on that ladder of success. So I just wanted to kind of hop on here. I'm trying to do a lot of different things. I'm getting a lot of different requests for stuff. So that should kind of cover the book thing. If there's something in any of those categories, just let me know, and I can recommend some other ones. I've got a ton of books, a ton more in each one of those. And if anybody wants to order, or not order one, but borrow one instead of buying them, you're welcome to borrow mine anytime. So that's it. See you.